Fear is not a state of mind you want to be in. You want to be in the state of mind that in spite of rain, shine, broken camera, this, that, and the other.
You could have said that better.
Sometimes certain people give you certain innuendos to ignite something within you.
And show me how to become a man. Show me how to become a person of character. Didn't make it easy for me at all, because she actually showed me that life requires struggle, because it's inevitable to struggle in life.
That we are human, we are flawed people, but yet we accomplish great things. Paying a good accountant, a good financial planner is not a cost, it's not an expense.
No, not at all.
It's an investment.
Yes, it is.
If the spirit moves you and something in your gut tells you, get out of there, go over there, do this, do that, you gotta move.
Welcome to another episode of the Transform Podcast. I'm here today with Patty Mason, a dear friend of mine and an incredible human being. I will have her introduce herself to you in a minute, but I just want to remind you guys that we're here to help you and give you actionable tips on how to transform your health, wealth, and relationships. Without further ado, Patty, my friend, thank you so much for being here. I'm so blessed to have you here with me.
Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome.
You're awesome. We've been trying to do this for a while. So
yes, we have.
Awesome.
Yes, we have. And look at the setting, right?
Right?
We had some technical difficulties, but we made it happen, right? That's how Leos are.
That's how Leos are. We don't quit. We don't get put in the corner.
We do not we do not do that at all.
No.
So tell me, my friend, tell me about you. Who's Patty Mason? Tell me.
Who's Patty Mason? Well, she's now Dr. Patty Mason. So
True.
This was an incredible accomplishment, but I am just an immigrant girl. I grew up in Romania, Oradea, to be the city. And we immigrated with my family and two other siblings in 1988. I grew up in Southern California. I've had many different experiences as a child that led me to who I am today, but growing up in California, it was a pretty eye-opening experience in relationship to Florida. I grew up in public accounting from the time I was 17 years old. I was a high school basketball player, did a little bit in JUCO.
Wow.
But I fell in love with accounting. And in my family alone, we have now 3 CPAs and 1 enrolled agent. I'm the federally licensed enrolled agent, and the rest of them are now CPAs, which is amazing.
Yes.
But being conditioned in a public accounting firm, especially in CPA firms, I've seen every sort of business of every kind. I got a chance to be mentored by multi-millionaire business owners whose checkbooks I was balancing at 19 years old while they were telling me their stories of real estate development and lending, and a lot of different industries giving me a lot of different information. What's neat about my journey is that I've always had the sense of desire, a burning desire to learn, to soak up information, to be a sponge of knowledge. And so I've gone through 3 college degrees. I got my bachelor's in accounting, my master's in taxation, and now my doctoral in organizational leadership.
Doctor in the house.
Yes. That's my quick and dirty journey.
Beautiful. So you said burning desire to learn. Where did that come from?
Good question. So I got to tell you guys a little background story. So when I immigrated to the U.S., I was 11 years old.
Beautiful.
I went to middle school in Huntington Beach, California. I think I was 12, 13 at the time. I think I was in the 8th grade. I want to say I was in the 8th grade. I walked into the administrative office and there was a lady there.
Okay.
And that lady said to me, "Come here, Patty. Oh, I see you got that little gap in your teeth. I just want you to know you're going to be a very successful person."
Oh, so she came from a good place. Okay.
Yeah. So, because I have a gap between my teeth. Right now I have, braces. You can't really see it, but I do have a gap. And she associated that with success. I never thought much about the teeth per se, but the mere fact that she looked dead in my eyes and said, "You will be successful," has never left my domain.
Wow.
What does success really look to someone? You know what I mean?
What is it even is, right?
What is success? How do you translate that? For me, growing up in a very structured and disciplined household, that is accomplishing something. Setting a goal and accomplishing it. Having that burning desire, that laser focus to accomplish something. So something awokened in me at that young age, and everything I did, I finished it. I did it, I finished it. So I think sometimes certain people in your walk of life at whatever age give you certain innuendos, certain something to ignite something within you. And I think that stood with me for many, many years. You're gonna be successful. You're gonna be successful. And I just applied it to everything.
So it was a calling.
It was somewhat like a calling. Like, I didn't know what it meant at the time, but here we are.
Right. Amazing. So 11 years old, coming to a new country, new culture, like completely different. How did that feel? Tell me about some of the struggles in your early life. Anything you want to share of you growing up, maybe getting to this country or even back when you were back in your home country.
Sure. So I'm a product of two parents that had much domestic violence. So I grew up where dad would always abuse mom, and this is what we saw. As a young child, I experienced a lot of different kind of traumatic experiences. At 4 years old, I got third-degree burns. A pot of soup fell on me while mom was cooking in the kitchen.
Wow.
3 months in the hospital. At 4 years old, do you really know what trauma is? At 4 years old, what do you know? You're a tiny little creature that just experienced something so traumatic that how do you so between the 4 and the time we immigrated, there was other kind of physical and, sexual violations that occurred to me. So, that which doesn't kill you only makes you stronger. 100%. And the most fascinating element that I still try to understand is, how did I not attach everybody's violence upon me or inflictions upon me? I never attached it to myself. I never victimized myself. Wow. They victimized me, but I never victimized myself. There was something within me that couldn't understand, but they did it. That's on them.
Right.
It's not a reflection of who I am. It's who they were. So coming to this country, not speaking the language, not knowing how people will react. Furthermore, I had a major fear towards what will people say about my third-degree burns? Oh, this girl looks deformed. I was so fearful of that I wore long sleeve clothing, long pants, even in the heat of summer, to protect getting exposed and being judged. So that's a real factor when you come to a country and you don't know anything.
Absolutely, because you get judged so many times.
So many times, and I never understood that in itself. We all have trials and tribulations. We all suffer through various sides of either abuse or setbacks. Who are we to judge one another?
Right.
You know what I mean? We all fall short, and I mean, we're human. You know?
Absolutely.
And that's the very same beauty about us, is that we are human. We are flawed people, but yet we accomplish great things, even with our flaws.
Yes,
you know what I mean? And in spite of the traumas we've experienced in life, how do we convert that into success, right? How do we convert that?
Drive.
Yes. How do you say, you know what? Yeah, this happened to me, but you know what? I'm going to get my degrees. I'm going to become a doctor. I'm going to build a business. I'm going to buy some properties. How do you get that? Because you come to head with, this is who I am from my upbringing, and this is who I want to be. And there's a crossroads, and it is a choice. Guys.
Yes.
Everything in life, happiness, joy, success, is a state of mind. It's a state of mind. Wow. If you want to be happy, be happy. Yeah. Tell yourself that, you know what, in spite of what happens today, I'm going to be happy. If you want to be...
It's a choice.
Absolutely. Everything in life truly is a choice. It's a choice to be a jerk. It's a choice to be happy. It's a choice to serve. It's a choice. Everything's a choice. And this brings me to tell you about the reactive instead of reactive, actually, the proactive mind, right?
So tell me about that.
Let's talk about that. Have you guys ever had an experience where somebody comes to you and just challenges your integrity? They say, you're not, you know what, you didn't do a good job, you didn't do that, you didn't, and it challenges you. Your first instinct is defend.
Right.
Defend.
Put the shield up.
Right. And that's an emotional reaction. You're not really thinking about it. So you're just And what happens when we react emotionally? Does that add more log to the fire, or does it calm it down?
It definitely adds to the fire.
Right? It adds to the fire. But what if we respond in a proactive manner? I'm sorry you feel that way. What part of what I did was, in your mind, unacceptable?
Brings down the guard.
What does that do?
Changes the whole thing.
It changes the whole thing. It basically says, hey, why don't you tell me what I did wrong? Let's talk about that. And let's bring it to a dialect where we can resolve it amicably.
Very interesting. As a matter of fact, yesterday, I'm having a conversation with another extremely intelligent person that I know. And we were speaking about this same thing, right? That we are a mirror reflection of the person in front of us. But we control the choice of what reflection we want to give them. So you could combat fire with fire, or you could come down and try to empathize and understand the feelings of the other person, hence control their reflection now upon you.
Absolutely. It's fascinating, isn't it? It's absolutely fascinating because it takes a conscious effort to think before you speak, to think before you react to something. It requires a level of critical thinking and a level of maturity and intelligence to say, you know what? And even self-awareness. Guys, it is so critical that you face yourself in the mirror. Self-awareness is the single most liberating emotion you can have, because when you now know who you are becoming who you want to become.
Right.
You see how you're centered. I myself, I'm a value-centered person. You, I know for a fact, are a value-centered person. What makes us value-centered? Because we care about people.
100%.
We are faith-driven.
Yes.
We are servants. We have servants' hearts.
Yes.
Our objective is not to fatten our pocket in what we do, but how can we bring value to our clients? Money should always be the indirect result to your service in your industry. Period, end of story. Because what happens with that? You eliminate your scarcity mindset
100%.
and you improve on your abundant mindset.
Yeah. That's powerful. That's really, really powerful.
It's true though. It's a fact.
So you gave me a lot of meat there. So let me digest it a little bit.
Yes, please.
Self-awareness, courage, all these things. Why is it difficult for many, many people to do this? Why is it so hard for people to become self-aware? Or that's at least my perception. Why do you think that is?
You know what? In my opinion, and being someone that faced those things, a lot of times, at least in my experience, there's a lot of residual paradigms that if we don't expose, okay, or at least visit to see, okay, these paradigms that I grew up with, are these healthy or unhealthy? There is an underlying paradigm that when you were a child or at any facet of your life, were you ridiculed? Were you put down? Were you diminished? Were you judged? Were you criticized? Those are all things that would create a block in us that would be like, you know what? I'm afraid to stand up and speak. I'm afraid to maybe start this business. I'm afraid to, because what would people think of me?
Got it.
Will I be criticized? Will I be ridiculed? One thing we can know for sure, that every one of us on this earth have suffered or been through or experienced some kind of setback, some kind of trauma, some kind of setback.
Universal rule.
All of us.
Yeah.
We are not immune to anything life has to throw at us. But it is up to us how we develop ourselves, how we look in the mirror and face our driving paradigms, face our decision making. What's causing our decision making? What are we lacking, or what? I don't want to use the word lack, but what are the dynamics within us that's controlling if we're a reactive or a proactive thinker, if we are emotional driven or we're logical driven? this has a lot to do with our paradigms or whatever we have in our foundation that we haven't addressed. And therefore, fear, I think, is
controlling.
Fear is controlling your decisions, which are emotional driven. Think about it. Fear comes from some anxiety, it creates anxiety. It's coming from something that you experienced in your past that you didn't resolve. Because remember, when we resolve our traumas, when we resolve those things in life that are holding us back, that's cultivating the fear mentality. When we harness, when we kind of get to the bottom of it and we develop our self-awareness,
it's freeing.
What? That's when the work starts. When you become oh my God, oh, this is why I'm attracting these kind of people. Okay, this is why I'm attracting this kind of business. This is why I'm attracting. We are energy. Life is the energy. There's energy all around you, and what you put out is what you're gonna get back.
Yeah, for sure.
So first and foremost, we have to figure out who we want to become from who we are.
Identity.
Figure that out, because once we figure that out, we become self-aware. Now we can put in the work to retrain our minds, create new paradigms, create a new center from which we conduct our decisions from, and get to the resolution of those fears. Because guys, fear depletes your immune system, right? When your immune system is down, that's when you pick up a bunch of germs, bacteria, and everything else that gets you sick.
Yes.
It's not a state of mind you want to be in. Fear is not a state of mind you want to be in. You want to be in the state of mind that in spite of rain, shine, broken camera, this, that, and the other.
You could have said that better. Yeah.
We will make it happen. We will push through. We will choose the higher ground. We will choose to be kind. We will choose to serve one another at the maximum capacity with the gifts that God gave us.
Beautiful. You couldn't have explained that better. If I heard you right, let me recap, because this is super, super valuable. The reason why you believe that a lot of people are not completely self-aware, or maybe running away from doing the work, is because of fear. Fear that was instilled in them at some point in their life.
Sure.
And it has become part of their identity. Hence, they either fear to change their identity, or fear not changing at all,
right?
And still not being able to become self-aware. Is that what it is, more or less?
In my opinion, that's what it is. But also think about it in a person that's in that state of mind. It's scary to change.
Yeah.
Change is scary, guys. Change is scary. So what is that element that makes a person that feels fear to move across the country, not knowing anything, go to another country from a country, not even speak the language, and choose to learn the language, chooses to, face those fears, such as if you have stage fright, go on stage and start speaking.
So what is it? Is it, in my opinion, it would be that the fear of not doing those things, right? Mm-hmm. It's actually greater than actually going and pursuing that. But what is it in your opinion?
Good point. I think when you succumb to fear, the only thing you can fear is fear itself. When you succumb to fear, you can't move.
Yeah.
Some are so fearful that it paralyzes them. And I'll be the first one to say, I don't come from this strong mentality overnight.
It's not easy.
I have faced so many fears. I've been bullied. That fear. I moved from California to Florida without knowing anyone. Wow. Yeah, I had some fears. But my desire for a new, happy, healthy life was stronger than my fear could ever be. And I truly believe that it is a learned behavior. It requires that you make conscious effort to tell your mind,
to not be
I
afraid.
will not fear. Wow. I am not going to be afraid. I want it. You know what? In spite of whatever's going to come at me, I'm going to have it. Create. A burning desire is not magic. It's not magic.
It's intention.
It's intentional action. When we do those vision boards, And we're so excited. We get the colorful pencils and the shiny and bedazzled stuff, and we create this board. And I want 2 properties. I want to go 5 vacations. I want to have a superb marriage. That's great, lovely. But until you put the action behind those visions, you are not accomplishing a doggone thing that year or any other year following.
Yeah.
So same thing with fear. We can overrule fear by creating a powerful mind to overrule the fear. So basically, let's say I'm afraid to put on a polka dot dress because
What will people think of me, right?
What would people think of me with a yellow polka dotted dress? So, but you know what? I'm gonna put the polka dotted dress on, and I'm gonna see how I look in a whole sea of black suited people. You know?
That would be like a thing to witness.
I literally did something like that once before. I was 28, I want to say, maybe 29, 30. I put on a light gray suit, pink shoes, pink shirt, and with my boss, we walked into a huge networking event with black suits everywhere. And I stood out like a sore thumb.
You were center of the attention.
I'm 6'1", right? Because in high heels, I'm 6'1". Here's this tall girl. I was kind of skinny at the time, you know. I had this, and I'm like, everybody was looking at me like, who is this chick? And then I opened my mouth, and I'm talking capital gain tax. I'm talking, how do you create passive income? And I'm talking about, you know, investment and, you know, W-2s and how to mitigate for taxes, how to
Really
be an
important
entrepreneur. And they're like, what?
Who cares about the color of your dress, right?
Right. But I made it my business to face different things, dress up different ways, figure out every single way to face every fear I had so I can overrule it so that it becomes more comfortable to bear. Public speaking was one of my greatest fears. When I came to 2 years at California, I went to summer school, and it was a drama class. They had me go up and read a script, and I was mortified. I started hyperventilating.
Wow.
I even passed out. They had to call the paramedics. That's how much fear was driving my my ability to be on stage. So I decided that I'm going to start giving QuickBooks training seminars in front of people.
You don't run away from stuff, right?
No,
Do you?
I said, you know what? Yes, that happened to me. It was the worst thing ever because I was still my English was still broken. Like, what will people think? And I was like, okay, I'm going to go give seminars and I'm going to go teach people this, teach people that. And then it started becoming easier, because guys, remember one thing. When you're facing such as public speaking, we are not there for ourselves. We are there for you.
Yeah.
I want to teach you about entrepreneurship and how to become successful at it, how to, find ways to lawfully mitigate for taxes for your sake, for your success. I'm not there for me because we are servant-hearted people. We're value-driven people. We are there to serve society with every possible being of our expertise that we can. And that's our job. It's not, think about it, abundant mindset is not about money.
Right.
Matter of fact, a really great book, guys, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah, phenomenal book.
Ooh, because that book is not about riches in sense of money. That book is truly about the mindset. How do you develop the mindset of a successful human being?
Yeah.
Period in the story.
And the stuff you attract by doing that.
Ooh, that's it. That was probably of the 5 books I've been reading lately, I finished. That was probably the one, I'm on my 3rd time, and this time I'm listening to it because there's so many profound okay, this is where you need to tweak, Patty. I do self-evaluation, maybe not daily, but weekly for doggone sure. Because we are never refined perfectly.
Oh, no, it's nearly impossible.
Impossible.
If ever possible.
It's not, because until we die, we're learning. And while we are learning, it is our job, why we are here is to serve one another.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
while I gain a piece of knowledge that, God, the moment I gain a piece of knowledge, oh my God, Alex, I learned something new. I'm ready to teach it, to tell it, to help, who is this gonna touch? You know what I mean? So we're always gonna learn. Perfection doesn't exist. And why should it?
Yeah.
It's so exhilarating to sit in front of you and to learn who you are, just like it's exhilarating for you to learn who
absolutely.
I am.
Like I'm getting so many notes and images of who you are now as a person. Like we're only gonna get a better relationship from this. So I appreciate you sharing your story. As a matter of fact, you gave me a lot to unpack, right? So I wanna bring you back a little bit. Yesterday I was mentioning that we're all different people, but we all have intersections in our stories. You mentioned a couple of things that I wanted to bring up. I also, like I told you, I got burned as a child.
Uh-huh.
At 7 years old, I was burned. I told you, my legs are like fried chicken, Kentucky Fried Chicken. I also come from a household of abuse. My father was an abusive man. I also had fears of public speaking. As a matter of fact, my English is still broken, right? But what did I do when I faced these things? I said, I have the crossroad. I either go and hide in fear, and I don't practice this at all, because like, why would I? I'm still gonna suck at the end of the day. Or I take the high road and I start interviewing incredible people like you, going on Toastmasters, teaching at the college, getting practice and reps, and definitely you have a great amount of improvement by just doing the work. So if anything, use this as proof. Patty and that portion of her story and this portion of mine, to show you that fear is a lie that you continually allow to exist in your brain, and you could just one day wake up from that lie and decide that you have been put in this earth for a bigger purpose than what you even believe you're here for, and you could just go and get it done. Like you said, goals become, we were laughing at this at the car.
Yeah.
Goals are simply dreams if you don't take action. So
100%.
just take action. Take me back, because you've given me the person you have become, overcoming this incredible odds and doing all these amazing things. But what was the trigger point? Because yeah, it's easy to say, this is all about practicality, putting things into perspective. It's easy to say from the place you're standing today, I have done this and I will continue to crush my life like this. But what triggered that? What caused it? What was the tipping point?
Okay. Woo, what a loaded
Let's unravel.
This is like in the depth of my soul, the answer to this. I was pregnant with my son, David. I think, 9 months pregnant actually. And at the time, his father was pretty much on the violent side when he was challenged with, narcissistic kind of behavior.
Yeah, like the ego stuff.
And he put a pillow over my face and started suffocating me.
Wow.
9 months pregnant. And why this is critical, because this was the pivotal moment, my first prayer to God. I literally said, and mark my word, I mean absolutely with all my heart as I stand here today, the prayer was, God, if you save my life and my son, I will give you my life. I will serve your people with every being in me till the day I die.
Wow.
No joke. No joke.
No, I don't.
You're a Leo, I'm a Leo. And not to discount anybody else, but my personality being structured and disciplined. One of the things in who we are is integrity is huge in my life.
Yeah.
It's huge. I'm an extremely painfully authentic person. I really know who I am with the pluses, with the minuses. I accept and love myself because of what I came through, what I chose, and who I chose to become.
Of course.
But guys, nobody becomes something like this or someone that faces fears for a hobby without the trauma that you experience, that you rise up from. But I made a promise that day.
Wow.
And when I make a promise, I do everything in my power to keep it.
Yeah, of course.
We are not going to keep every promise 100% of the time because circumstances, life, whatever
But we'll
happens,
do our best.
But we'll do our best. But I am so still till today, clearly, I'm so committed to that promise because I took my last breath. That prayer was the last breath. He took the pillow off my face. Guys, when he took the pillow off my face, I didn't cry. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I didn't fight. I was so resolved. I was so resolved, so laser focused of what I had to do, which was
Move forward.
move forward, have this baby, leave the situation, and start working towards what? The promise that I made that I am going to serve God's people. And serving God's people meant I had to go get an accounting degree. I had to go get a taxation degree. The doctoral was a personal choice for this reason alone, because I want to help. I want to public speak. I want to help. I want to share this story, share to people and help people see themselves in a better light and work their way through success. And I did all this.
Just a few simple things.
Minor things. Minor things. Just to become that person with a gift, with a talent, with an expertise where I can use that knowledge to serve God's people.
Incredible.
I started this conversation when we talked earlier, when I said to serve God's people. We're value driven to serve God's people. That's our motivation. That's my sole purpose in this world, is to serve God's people. And I just happen to do it with a very important profession. You know,
Yes.
I'm truly, I don't feel myself as the typical accountant you might think that does a tax return and then you go on your way next tax return.
You're definitely an advisor. I've witnessed that firsthand.
I enjoyed that part. I literally enjoyed the part where while I'm doing your taxes, I'm explaining to you why I'm putting the number here versus here, you know, to show you why this is done so that we don't expose ourselves to excessive tax. I want to say something about tax, guys. It's not about not paying tax. Don't you love your parks? Don't you love your streets?
Yeah.
Don't you love the schools? The children can go to schools. Don't you love everything that we have?
Yeah,
There's
all
nothing
public
wrong.
services. Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with paying a little bit of tax, because that tax also goes to other people like you and I who work for the government.
Right.
Understand the whole cycle
course.
of life and money and opportunities.
Yes.
It requires money. Unfortunately or fortunately, it takes money to live on this earth.
Yes.
Okay, it takes money. So paying a little tax is not a problem. It should not be in your mind a problem. Overpaying tax, that's a problem.
Yeah.
That's a serious problem, and there's so many ways and avenues to lawfully actually mitigate for taxes. It's about how you position yourself and your business and how you structure it to
Absolutely.
mitigate for taxes. Not eliminate taxes, mitigate for taxes. There are sometimes you may eliminate it due to whatever circumstances you have, but there are times that you're going to mitigate it.
Tax minimization strategies.
Yes, yes.
Awesome. I love it. So
Exactly.
what brought you, well, you mentioned that a lot of the people in your family and your circle are in accounting. So now that we're speaking about accounting, what brought you into this world? Was that a passion growing up? Like, what brought you into this line of business?
Excellent question. So senior year in high school, they give you this test. Well, it's not really a test. It's kind of like it's a career day. They give you this test, and the test results based on your personality tell you what you should be. Accounting was the first one, and architect was the second one.
For you?
Yes, for me.
Wow.
And architecture, I love architecture. I can draw and I can understand blueprints. It's kind of fascinating. But accounting put the seed in me after that test. But I started working for my cousin who was a CPA. My cousin's a little bit older than I am, and he already had his CPA practice. I started working part-time in his CPA firm. And then as I was learning, so I started at the bottom up. Can you imagine? I started accounting at the bottom, which means that when you start at the bottom, before school, before all the curriculums, you start at the bottom, you get exposure for year 2, 3.
You learn the
go
trade.
back to school. You learn practical knowledge. Guys, practical knowledge sometimes outweighs that education in school.
Bookworms are not. Yeah.
Exactly. So I gained the practical knowledge. So when I started working that, I'm like, for one, I love numbers. For two, my father did do something super great. He taught us the value of money. So I loved how we could make money doing this. And then I started getting exposed to balancing checkbooks to multimillionaires. And I'm like, and listening to their stories. And I got ignited. One story that I heard about a developer who was much in his older years at this point, he told me how he started what he was doing from nothing. He became a developer all over the United States.
Incredible.
From nothing. And like Napoleon Hill, you can think yourself rich. You really can't think yourself rich. It doesn't happen overnight. It requires a plan and hard work. But nowhere in that equation is fear. So I decided to do this because these passions that came from the various business owners, the various stories I got to listen to, the various accounting I did, because it was so dynamic. Public accounting, unlike private accounting, we get exposure to every industry. You touch a set of books of a doctor, of a lawyer, of a retail business, of a publishing business, of a beer company, and so you get exposure to every chart of accounts, every kind of financial statements. And that was so dynamic because although the accounting equation is equal across all businesses, the movements, the internal controls, a lot of things are different and they're dynamic because your brain gets exposed by multiple different levels versus private accounting, you may do the accounting for the one company alone. So it became so dynamic. I took my first accounting class at 19.
And you're like, this is it.
And I fell in love with it. I was like, you know what? I can do this. It's a great profession. Then I went back at 19 to work full-time for my cousin, 19 or 20. And I worked there for 10 solid years. That's when I had David in between that time. And I literally got so engraved in it to where I told my boss, I said, listen, I'm going to create another business because I'm starting to see that bookkeeping is an essential part of accounting. And it wasn't that prominent at the firm at the time. So I started networking, giving out my cards, and I started talking to different business owners. I'm like, listen, focus 99% on your craft, on your business. Let me do the bookkeeping for a small fee, and we're gonna work this out. So we created a partnership with my boss. I got all these bookkeeping clients. So I was making money here. I was making money with a W-2 paycheck. I was finding different ways to create money, different sources of income.
And that's interesting you mentioned that because I was gonna ask you, how do you go from right now? So you took me through the accounting journey. What brought you into the business? How do you get started? What created the love for the profession? But then how do you go from working in this firm for 10 years and doing this side business you were doing to Patty, the business owner? When did that happen?
Well, okay. So I left California when I was, I want to say 26, 27. I came over to Florida. I worked for CPA firms. I've worked for CPA firms my entire life. So I got hired at a local CPA firm because remember we transitioned from California to Florida.
What triggered that change, as a matter of fact?
I fell in love with no taxation. What?
Hell yeah! Okay, good.
I fell in love with no state taxes, and then of course Disney World. I wasn't much of a Disney, but I did fall in love with the little Disney whole thing, the adventures and the various things we could do in Florida. But I built a house in Florida for $385,000.
California was like $1 million, right? Or two?
Yeah. In the not so desirable communities on top of that. So the point is, I was making money in California and I was building my house here. So it was amazing, right? Transitioning from an expensive state to a non-expensive state. So that's where that came through. Then when I worked for the CPA firm, I became a controller for one of their clients. So I departed briefly to be an internal controller to an organization. Then I propelled back into accounting. Long story short, about accounting, I ended up being hired by a particular firm in Central Florida. And I got fired when I was pregnant after 10 years of employment. So another setback, right, guys? Yeah. Another setback. So think about that for a moment. You're 7 months pregnant. You're 41 years old. You're 7 months pregnant. You just built your house. All your money went into building the house. This is my second house I built. So all the money went into the house. So now here you are, no paycheck, no money. Husband is now in Florida. He's just now in Orlando. Now he's trying to figure out how he's going to figure out his career. We literally got nothing. Now, I never forget, I came home, I cried. I cried hard. My husband said, all right, go ahead and cry. But when you're done, you know you can do this, right?
Wow, that's...
You know you can do this, right? I'm like, I'm pregnant and I got big fat feet. And he's like, but you can do it. So go ahead and cry. Okay. Now get dressed. We're going networking.
Wow. So he reminded you of who you were.
Of who I'm supposed to become.
Incredible.
Because I've already felt that itch, that burn in 2016 when he came back into my life. In 2016, I felt the push. Let me say something. This is really critical and important. When the Spirit moves you, is a reason behind that, supernatural that you can't understand. When the Spirit moves you, when something in your gut tells you, get out of there, go over there, do this, do that, you gotta move because it's supernatural. Because you can't explain it. There's no logic behind it. I walked into my prior employer's office. I got to my desk. The Spirit said, pack your stuff now. What? This is no joke, guys. The Spirit moved me and said, pack your stuff now. It was August 2nd, 2018, my father's birthday.
Wow.
That morning, I'm like, okay. I took everything, the pictures, all my personal stuff. I put it in a box, everything. I left everything on the shelves, so it doesn't seem like maybe this is, I don't know what the heck is going on. Let me figure this out. That morning, he called me in the conference room. He told me to tell him everything about the 250 clients I brought into the firm, and you can go now.
Wow.
That day, that the Spirit told me, move. But in 2016, I knew I should have moved. The Spirit told me, get out, quit. But my son was in private school. We make up so many excuses not to make a decision that you know you should.
Limiting beliefs. We spoke about this.
Yes. So I could have been gone sooner. So long story short, I started networking. All those clients that I built up at that firm started reaching out, but sometime later because they told them I was on maternity leave. So it was very interesting. Yeah, it was kind of funny. I found out later, but it doesn't matter. You know what? That boss gave me my freedom.
Yeah.
To spread my wings.
The push that you needed, right?
The push that I needed because I wasn't willing to do it when the Spirit moved me to do it, I didn't do it. So, guys, when the Spirit moves you, do it. Because if you don't do it, faith will do it a harder way, a more painful way. But here it is, 7 months pregnant, I built up my business. I started in my house. I got a couple clients. We didn't do too well that first year. I gave birth to my son October 2018. I had my first tax season that following year, and And 3 years later, I bought my first commercial property. 1 year after that, I bought two more properties back to back. So I'm now,
Amazing.
turned myself into a little investor. But the point is that nothing will stop you when your calling comes up, that this is what you need to do. Your spirit moves you.
Yeah.
Everything aligns for your life when you move when you're supposed to.
Not even yourself.
100%.
Not even yourself.
100%. So, yeah, so that's how I built my business, 7 months pregnant.
Beautiful. Tell me, that's an incredible story, by the way. Mind-blowing, because it's a story of adversity and overcoming. And a lot of people shy away from sharing that because everybody wants to be out there and be successful and live this incredible life. We were having this conversation before, but it's not like that, or at least it's not like that for almost anybody.
Most of us.
So, tell me about some of your passions, the stuff that you do for fun. Passion could be accounting, but some of the stuff you like to do for fun.
What do I like to do for fun? I love to vacation.
Me too.
I love to vacation. I like to cruise, and let me tell you why I like to cruise. It is the one time on vacation that I can rationalize my brain to turn off my phone, turn off all communication, put it in the safe, disconnect, and truly be present on that vacation. Because when you're vacationing or staycationing, you don't really shut off your phone.
Yeah, you don't.
I mean, let's be real. All of us are married to this doggone phone.
Yeah.
Like all of us, It takes conscious effort to say, today, I'm going to take a break from it. I'm going to spend present time with my family and enjoy. I love more than anything to make memories with my children, make memories with my husband. I'm so committed to our lives, our families. I also love basketball more than anything. My son David.
I didn't know that.
Yes, my son David is actually a professional basketball player. And we're hoping, praying for the next great contract, but basketball is a massive passion of mine. I'm married to an ex-professional basketball player. Our son Anthony is due to be at least 6'10", 7 foot, so hopefully he's going to be a super athlete. So my family is a huge passion, and I definitely, I fall short. Tax seasons are grueling. I miss some time with my family, but we are being intentional about our marriage, about our family unit, to spend time with each other and create those opportunities. Everything that you want, that you truly commit to, and that you want, you gotta allocate time to.
Yeah.
I don't believe that, I can't do that. I can't do that. That's not true. Anything you want, you can do. You make time for your nails, you make time for your hair, you make time for golf. You can make time with your children. And guys, be present with your children.
Yeah.
Be present with your children, because these kids are our future. These are the kids that are going to take care of us in retirement. And frankly, some of the things I see what happens with grandparents and retirees in different facilities. Guys, take care of your children.
Yeah.
Be there for your children.
You actually made me remember about one of the special sections in this podcast, which is the misconceptions. You spoke about your children, people in their older years. Talk to me about a misconception in accounting that you would like to debunk. Maybe that people, it's like folklore, like everybody feels like this thing might be real, but it's a total fake. So.
I got you. I got you. Okay, let's talk about that. One of the major misconceptions in the accounting and tax arena, and guys, every accountant out there is not the same. We all have different opinions. We all work differently. We're all motivated by different intentions.
Right.
The misconception that there is, it has to do around taxation. If you're an immigrant, if you're born here, however you decide to be an entrepreneur and start a business, if you become self-employed and you don't know much about corporations, LLCs, or any kind of legal structures or tax structures, you just decide to, you know what, I'm going to be a plumber. So I'm going to, get a client list, start going house to house and start making myself known as a plumber. I open a bank account and put my plumbing money in the bank account, and I spend everything, right? So that when I file my taxes, I give it to my accountant, and I made $100,000 and I spend $150,000.
It's a wash.
It's a wash. It's zero. I break even. I want to break even every year. Break even. So what happens with that is when you're self-employed, the only way you pay into your Social Security and Medicare, that some of you may not believe it'll ever be there. Some of you are counting on it to be there. I don't even care where you are.
Right.
Because the framework is the same no matter what. So if you don't pay tax at all whatsoever as a self-employed person and you break even every year, you never get to pay into your Social Security and Medicare, because SE taxes, self-employment taxes, include the contribution of the tax into your retirement plan. Prime example, my daddy. So my daddy was that guy that said, I'm gonna make money and I'm gonna spend all this money and I don't wanna pay taxes.
I'll keep it under the mattress.
All business taxes. Okay. We're not going to talk about what's right, what's wrong right now, but let's just talk about the fact that he did that. His Social Security is about $283 a month in Southern California.
Wow.
You tell me, is that something to look forward to?
No, not at all. Like I was telling you, my power bill, it's like $550.
Right? So think about it for a second. There are ways to mitigate overtaxation, but there's no way to save you from not having Social Security and Medicare that you're really going to need.
Yeah,
and I do believe it'll be there, at least for my generation and the generation before me. Surely it'll be there.
Yeah.
And be left with nothing.
And I mean, if anything, the fact that this has become part of the culture, right? Not paying or contributing towards this future benefits you might get, it might be the reason why these benefits might go away at some point, right?
It may be. Maybe. That's a really good point, actually,
Right.
Alex. But think it through for a second. These very same mentality people that do that, these are the scarcity mindsets.
Yeah.
They don't want to pay taxes. Money comes, it's immediately spent. Do these people have passive income?
Oh, no.
Do they have a rental property? Do they have pensions? Pensions may be gone, but maybe an IRA, maybe a
401k, any type of retirement
anything,
vehicle.
A whole life insurance policy,
Right.
anything. Likely not.
No, yeah, for sure.
So now you are depending on what? You don't have the government because you didn't pay into the Social Security Medicare, so that's not coming.
What a pickle to be in.
What if you need long-term care? I have to stress this. I really do. The accountants that genuinely care about you will educate you. That's what's missing in our society. We're not teaching kids financial literacy
At all, unfortunately.
anywhere. Kids are not being taught about money at home because likely their parents don't know about money at home. They were not taught.
Yeah.
So we have a rapid growth of scarcity mindsets who are going to be retiring with no money. That hopefully their children who are completely entitled will take care of them.
That's a
whole other topic, guys. But think it through. Think about it. I hope this invokes your thoughts.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to accomplish here for sure.
Think about it. So if I get a good professional, you guys gotta understand accountants, financial advisors, certain attorneys that deal with estate and asset protection. You guys gotta know that paying a good accountant, a good financial planner, a good attorney is not a cost. It's not an expense.
No, not at all.
It's an investment.
Yes, it is.
It's an investment.
I agree.
Because anytime you have an accountant that tells you, okay, this is how you save for taxes lawfully.
Yeah.
that educate you on business structuring, tax mitigating, retirement, etc. Her or his fees are tax deductible for all businesses.
Yeah.
I mean, we're tax deductible. All professional fees are tax deductible.
Right.
You guys are getting 3 benefits out of a good accountant that may charge you $500.
Yeah.
You're getting a lifetime of education that can change the way you think about money and about retirement. I have a serious approach to serving my clients. I take a holistic approach to their financial picture. We don't only talk about a tax return. We talk about, hey, I don't see a retirement plan. Are you ready for retirement? Even if you're not ready, put $100 a month right here, and let's have that money grow for you.
Yeah, get your feet wet.
Yeah, get your feet wet. Oh, I can't afford it. Yes, you can.
You're dropping it on McDonald's every week.
Yeah, Starbucks. I love Starbucks, but the point is that yes, you can.
Right.
You can turn your faith around if you make a plan to do it. It's all about designing a framework, a plan that you can discipline yourself to stick to that can do it.
Yeah, intentionality. We've been
Again,
the recurring
right?
topic today.
100%.
Beautiful. So you've become an advisor for your clients. That's honestly, you know that. I try to be the same way with
100.
the clients that I serve, and I think it just creates so much value for them that paying whatever fee you charge will be a deep discount to the value you provide. So
100%.
Evident, right?
Every time.
Beautiful. So you have an incredible amount of wisdom. This is why I really want to ask you this question. What is the best piece of advice you have ever been given, and why? From any angle, whether that has been relationships, in business, or whatever.
I hope I don't cry when I say this.
Don't cry. Don't make me cry. I don't cry, as a matter of fact.
In my upbringing, my cousin, Patty.
Okay. Just like you, Patty like you?
Oh, we have 3 Patties in my family.
Oh, wow.
There's my mom is a Patty, I'm a Patty, and my cousin's a Patty. So Patty is my first cousin. Her husband, Joe, who's the CPA that I worked for many years, we're really my accounting foundation, taxation, and public developed. Those 2 are the most influential, most critical part of my growth, not only in taxation and accounting, but also as a human being. Patty saw something in me when I was 13, 14, 15, 16 years old, and as I spent a lot of time with her children. They were little at the time. I was a little bit older. So how fate has it, but she always pushed me to go to school. And I'm like, yeah, but now I have a baby. Now I made every excuses, right? The rationalization we give to people why we shouldn't do something that we know would be good for us, right? She kept on telling Patty, you got to go to school. 5 years from now, you're going to wake up with a college degree in your craft. If you do nothing, you will wake up with nothing. She said this to me over and over again. She also said, 1 class at a time, Patty. 1 class at a time. You're going to wake up with something 5 years from now versus nothing. I said, well, I got the baby. She said, I'll watch the baby. I said, well, I don't have any money. I'll pay for it. She would not allow me any excuse to not go to school, so I went to school. And then I couldn't stop going to school.
Well, the Dr. Patty.
Right? She laid the seed of education in me, and the best advice this beautiful human soul has given me is to keep focused on finish something, do something. Do it.
Take the first step.
Take the first step.
Interesting.
Take the first step. 1 class at a time. 1 day at a time. 5 years from now. She never anticipated, though, that I decided to do my doctoral degree. I came to a crossroads at the CPA firm. I got approved to sit for the CPA. I was ready. I had the knowledge, I had the education, the experience. I was ready, and I was approved. I had a dream that night. And in the dream, it said CPA, or should I pursue the doctoral degree in leadership? because I knew that the seed of leadership was within me.
Clearly.
Evidently. No. But it was in me. And I was wrestling so hard because I was registered. I paid for I was ready to start the journey to becoming a CPA. Then I was thinking, do I want to audit? I never wanted to audit. I never wanted to do reviews and attestations. I never wanted to get into that side of taxation, which requires the CPA.
Right.
I wanted to be a tax expert, and I wanted to be a small business specialist. Well, if that's the case, I went and got my federal license to become an enrolled agent. The IRS gives this highest level of accreditation to practitioners, enrolled agent. So this makes us a tax expert. My focus was always going to be taxation and small business. I didn't need to be a CPA, and I never wanted to pursue that.
Yeah, but that's not you.
I decided to do the doctoral degree. Well, my cousin Patty's dream was the doctoral degree. And unfortunately, whatever circumstances, she could never accomplish it. So this degree is dedicated to the people who brought me to this country, my parents.
Yeah, that's so powerful though.
And my cousin Joe and Patty, because every one of us has a Patty.
Yes.
Every one of us has at least one person in our journey that believes in us more than we do. Until my husband came around, who also believed in me. But throughout my young adulthood, Patty was the one that never let me be anything other than the greatness that I was supposed to step into. And they single-handedly paved my personality, my burning desire. They're the ones that put me in those avenues that ignited my passions, that ignited my desires, that ignited. Patty's the number one influence in my life since the time I was 13 years old.
That's incredible.
And she is still today. And
thank you, Patty. We love you.
Thank you, Patty Weiss. I love you more than life.
That's amazing. That's a beautiful, beautiful story. And just like you mentioned, we all have that one Patty. In my life, that person, it's a very unique person. Today, just like you said, that person has become my wife, of course.
Yeah. Awesome.
But before my wife, even more, I dare to say even more than my parents, it was my aunt. This lady is a sea urchin. Where you touch her, you're gonna get stung, right?
Ooh.
She's a tough cookie to crack. Leo as well, right?
Yeah.
Like full of, right? But she was the one that got me when I got to this country, took me under her wing, brought me to her house, and showed me how to become a man.
Wow.
Showed me how to become a person of character, a hardworking person. Didn't make it easy for me at all, because she actually showed me that life requires struggle, because it's inevitable to struggle in life.
Yep.
So she showed me that side of life. My mom really, really loved me and pampered me. I was burned as a child, so I never played sports. Like, she always wanted to keep me here under my wing, right?
Yeah.
But this lady was like tough love, right? Loves me to death and back. I think she has become a mother to me in this country, and she is a tough cookie to crack, but also an incredible person. And I owe her a lot of who I am today, because she told me that nothing comes easy, and if you want anything you better go work and get it done, and don't do any. She told me once, as a matter of fact, I think the first time I had a drink in my life, I was 20 something, like late 20s. Late 20s. Because when this lady got me at 16 years old, she told me, in this house, the rules are simple. You go to school, and this is not a choice. You graduate the best way. You go work the moment you're able to work, right? And you never do drugs, never drink, never smoke, never do none of those
100%.
things. And I could say today that I've never put in my mouth a substance other than alcohol because of that woman.
Good job.
Ever. Or my arms or whatever.
Good job. Good job.
Yeah, so
Good job.
yeah, great to hear that story. So the importance of relationships. We're gonna close with this, I believe. Tell me about the importance of relationships and people in your life. Patty's the perfect transition for this, so tell me more.
So the importance of relationship. Let me start with the foundation of this thought, to invoke your thought. If this universe was created in such a way that only you existed, Alex, who would you serve?
If only I existed?
If you were the only human being existing on this earth, how would you survive? Who would you serve?
I would need to find my purpose, and I would say at that moment, I would find the purpose in existence, meaning God or whatever you believe in, nature, anything to serve. Because otherwise I would just go nuts, right?
But the bottom line is, how would you be fulfilled? Because service means serving someone else other than yourself.
Very true, yeah. That's why I went to serving God or serving nature, because I couldn't find it in just, what do I do? Just go like this until I die?
100%. That's the point. We need one another. There's multitude of us, multiple countries, multiple cultures. Find the beauty in humanity.
Yeah, we're one people at the end of the day.
We are one people. We are born the same way and die the same way, right?
Yes.
We put on, guys, we are same. Yes. We are the same. I don't care what color you are, what shape, size you are. You are a soul, a heart, a human being. You matter.
Yes.
Because you're on this earth. You matter.
100%.
Every human soul matters. So relationships should solely be based on love and compassion. I find it difficult and very painful to see how our world has turned into a selfish, driven center.
Yeah, self-interest.
Self-interest. Why? So if everyone perishes, where will your self-interest lie?
Oh, that's where you brought me back to your question. Yeah.
That's right. So think that through for a second. Do some critical thinking. If we're put on this earth in different countries, different shapes, different sizes, everything, different ideas.
Yes.
We all have brilliance, and 100% you can be sure that we all have a purpose. Being a person that, let me say this, it's okay to care about yourself.
Oh, yeah.
It's okay to grow yourself. It's okay to, want nice things. It's okay to groom yourself, dress nice. That's okay. Develop your brain. You're the best version of yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. Think it through. If you take the time to develop who you need to become, who you want to become, who you need to become, and that's a value-centered person, right? Because then you're going to be resolved as a person. You're not going to be easily offended because you're going to stand your ground. You're going to know who you are. If I spend the time to become this person, am I not a healthier person to have a relationship with you?
Yeah.
Will I not reflect the best quality of who I am with the best expertise that I have, that I've refined? Would I not serve you with the best of my abilities? If we don't become healthy human beings, we're not putting forth our best foot to serve someone else. So it's okay to have self-care. What's not okay is that you kill, cheat, and steal from someone else for you to have.
Yeah, absolutely.
The basic human law, 10 commandments, basic human law, not to cheat, not to kill, not to steal, but to love one another. Basic human emotion is to love one another. I am driven by passion and love for humanity.
And I can see that.
I care so much for us to function at optimum capacity. And so, while I'm doing your tax return, we're having these conversations.
We're creating a relationship.
What is your dream?
Yeah.
We talked about it earlier.
Yes.
What is your dream? You want to create, you want to be influencer, let's say. Yeah. You want to influence others for the better.
To take action.
To invoke action, to face your fears, right?
Transform their lives.
how can we turn that desire into a monetary result as well? Because guys, let's be real. We have to earn a living.
Yeah, yeah.
You can expect to provide service for someone and not get paid.
Right.
I can expect to, work for you and not get paid. We got to understand back to value.
Value.
Know your value. Demand your value. Because you have to earn a living. But don't diminish someone else's value because you don't want to pay, but you should get paid.
Right.
This is a terrible also misconception in human minds. I want it free, but you should pay for it. What?
Yeah, very interesting.
Value, know your value. We got to know our value. So we got to talk about how to take that value and put it into humanity in a sense that how can we serve one another for a common cause?
Absolutely.
I put a video out there one day. Let me just say this quickly. Our job is to, again, serve one another, right?
Yes.
Serve one another. So, what joy, what passion do you have when you receive versus when you give?
It's a lot more fulfilling when you're giving to someone else than when you receive, in my opinion.
Amazing, right? So if you give me and I give you, won't we both be taken care of? Why are we so selfish and so afraid that nothing's going to be left for us?
Yeah, that comes back from
generous.
that scarcity mindset. You said it yourself.
Yes.
But this is a recurring theme in this podcast and in my life as a whole. Like if I concentrate on giving people so much value, whether that's in giving them my time, or giving them my advice and my expertise,
Sure.
or just being fair in the way that I do business with people.
Equitable and fair dealings.
That as a byproduct, right? Universal law of the universe. If you concentrate on giving, what should you expect to receive? Which farmer in the world has planted a tree on the ground, has given it water and enough nutrients for it to rise to the sky and not have gotten a fruit? It's impossible.
It's impossible. This is no different than, right, going back to relationships.
Yeah.
If you nurture that relationship, you put each other first.
Yeah, absolutely.
You serve one another. Don't focus so much about what's in it for me.
Right.
Focus, and I hear that a lot.
Oh, yeah.
From so many financial people. What's in it for me? No. What's in it for both of us? As an adult, guys, as kids, when you play sports, it's competition.
Yes.
There's a winner, there's a loser.
Yeah.
Right?
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. I'm a very competitive person. I played sports in my time. But as an adult in business,
Yeah.
why should there be a winner? Why should there be a loser?
I agree with that
Why?
statement. Yeah. Why are we
When we
not both benefiting?
Why?
Why not?
I'm a small business. You're a small business. The next person's a small business. We're individuals. We're small businesses.
Yeah.
If I need a banker, I go to the small bank. If I need a financial advisor, I'm going to go to Ryan's small business advising
Michelle
firm.
for real estate.
For real estate. I go to you. So the point is, you get the point.
We become a big business together.
When we serve one another, and I pay you for yours, you pay me for mine, I
Yeah.
pay you for yours. Aren't we both succeeding?
Yeah, absolutely. Elevating each other.
Elevating each other. So be mindful of your relationships. Get out of your own way.
Yeah.
When you love someone, you teach them how to love. Well, first, love yourself enough
For sure.
to love someone else.
It's like in the airplane. In case of an emergency, put your thing first and then,
That's
right?
the same exact right about self-development. Develop yourself first.
Yeah.
So that you can be healthy serving others.
How could you do better for someone else if you're not doing right by you?
100%.
It's impossible.
It's impossible,
It's
and it's not
impossible.
the right approach.
Yeah.
We have to do self-reflection. We have to find who we need to become. We have to do that in order for us to become the value-centered that
Yeah.
can effectively and healthily serve others.
Yeah.
Right? We have to.
Beautiful. Beautifully explained. My friend, this conversation has been phenomenal. So many nuggets of wisdom here today. I want you to still give one more. if you had a piece of advice, maybe in a word or two, that you could tell the audience to help them transform their life today, what would that be?
Start your own business and work for yourself. Become an entrepreneur.
Hell yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Patty. I love this interview. Thank you so much for being here.
My
I
pleasure.
appreciate your time.
It's
and
really my pleasure.
Your kindness. All right. I'll see you
pleasure.
around, my friend.
All
Thank
right,
you.
thanks.
Cut.